Hello, I'm Eagle Gardens, Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram, and this is episode 823.4. Of course, this is a Thursday Weed Nerd World. Miss Angel there in the background. How you guys all doing on this what was a fine Thursday? Pretty good day for myself, anywho. Hopefully you've had a wonderful day as well. What up, Miranda Family Farms, Modern Genetics, Mr. Martial Artist 2012, some weed nerds right there, Cheapskate Grower, alright. What's up with you? Jason Eyestone, Val Potheads, and I need to schedule an interview with you, damn it. Keep putting them off. I got a bunch of them in the waiting. Just waiting for that fucking date to do the episode. Slacking. What's up, crack babies? Buddy, kilowatts, spring grape. Mr. Nowhere Man. What the heck are you guys smoking on? Hopefully it's better than this shit right here. Oh, what up, Spring Grape? How you doing? Let's see. Just happy I didn't start the show muted. What happened? Riz in the house. Cheers, Riz. What has been your favorite part of the day today so far? I am very curious on that. What up, Johnny Candy Seed? How you doing? Mr. Brett Anderson. What's Ass Factor? Good day. How you doing, my friend? Welcome to the show. I just happen to have a coffee and part of a joint. Cheers. Man, I am still on the fence about, I know it's fall. Nothing I can do about it. Doesn't mean I'm ready for it, though. Transition into winter. I'm grateful that there ain't no snow yet. Pretty much on that mystery machine. Alright. Sounds decent. Australia. Hell yeah, that's fucking awesome. Cheers, cheers, cheers. I like to see that. I don't know, see Mr. Smiley tonight. I know he's got some traveling to do. That's next week though, I think. I'll send a pick up pups in your Instagram show. Alright. Oh, I said misses.
Yeah, I'm terrible.
Oh no. Oh, fucking I'm on top chat, damn it. Please take your chat to live chat. Let YouTube know you're there. Space Coat. 82 cheers. Holler at the dogs. So far, so good on the dogs tonight. What up, Marina Family Farms popping in? The crisp fall air is always nice. What's up, man?
What's going on?
How you doing tonight?
Good. I figured I'd hop on for a few. I gotta pick up my kids from work soon. I've been kind of hurting lately. I was like 4 days ago, I was watering the plants and it was like noontime and I was crouched down. I stood up, tried standing up and my fucking back just gave out. I haven't been able to stand up since. I ended up going to the hospital at like 3 a.m. a couple nights ago just to get a shot so I could, because I haven't slept in a couple of days from the pain. It's so bad. Oh, I don't know what's going on. This kind of sucks. And of course, I call my doctor and they give me an appointment in like December.
What?
That's not helping anything right now.
No, that's fucking a long ways away.
Hell yeah. So I told him like I don't know why I have to like do the thinking for the doctors, but I said, well, before I even see you, I need a MRI, current one, so you can see what's going on when I come and see you, and then you can kind of compare it to the old ones too while you're at it. So yeah, it's been pretty rough over here, and I'm still a one-man show, so the fucking show must go on. You know what I mean? I'm still harvesting and fucking around.
It sucks.
Got a little bit left on this plant, but it's pretty much done. You go in here. You might hear some grunting in the background. It's just me moving. Just some of that tri-fi. It's just fire. I got a seed out of the bud of a dispensary sack, and it's just super gassy. So I'm like, hell yeah, I'm gonna keep this around.
Looks like you got some work cut out for you real soon.
Yep. I got a row of Cindy, a row of tri-fi.
Looking good.
Some random shit. Couple of plants that just went in.
Yeah, they're looking beautiful. Nice color.
Hell yeah. See what's going on into our number 2. Well, what do we have here? More fucking plants. These were clones of Cindy and Tri-Fi, and I was nervous. I had to shut down so they could so they can replace this friggin' water meter right here. So I had to shut down for a little bit, and I was like nervous, thinking I ain't gonna be able to have plants big enough to go into flower. Fuck, these things blew up so fast. These things are like belly button height already.
Nice. Are those 10s are in?
7s.
Nice.
I gotta clean the bottoms of these fucking things up too. They grew up fast. They grew up so fast.
They do.
Some wet clones.
Definitely some nice work. Every garden's got to have gnomes, man. I seen my chiropractor's got a fucking gnome when you walk in. I swear I want to fucking buy off him. It's fucking a gnome fucking sitting on a motorcycle. Kind of fucking badass. He fits in right with the other gnomes I got there. Monster clone.
Uh-oh. It made a root. I see it.
Do you worry about that? I see like that brown in there. Do you worry about that becoming bud rot before she takes off 100%? That shit always.
I don't know. I spray it with Dr. Zyme's water so that doesn't happen. Oh, I got the finger over the hole.
Mhm.
But yeah, I have had that problem where I just sprayed it with mist water, and then stupidly the thing turned into a little ball of cotton, and I had to throw it out. Learning lesson: spray it with Dr. Zyme's or trifecta water. Works just fine. Actually, I'm having really good success with taking cuts in full flower and just rooting them and re-vegging them like that.
Yeah, I've never had a problem with taking them in like 1, 2 either.
Uh-oh. What happened?
You lost your camera. Is your battery going low?
There it is. My back?
Your battery.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks about your back though, man. I feel your pain. Yeah, that's some shitty pain.
Yeah, this hurts so bad right now. Just moving around, just showing that sucks. But no pain, no gain. The show must go on.
Sadly enough. Sadly enough. See the coffee maker right there. You heavy coffee drinker?
Actually, you know what? That's actually for a fucking hot chocolate because I gave up coffee. I don't know, it must have been like 10 years ago, and went. It's actually probably worse, but I'm drinking friggin' monsters by the shitload.
That's rented. In my opinion, that's rented energy right there.
Oh, shit. Apparently, I'm gonna have to go because my phone is blowing the fuck up with the wife right now.
Yeah, you better take care of that.
Well, I know Johnny's gonna be hopping in soon. He was just cleaning himself up from a big project he did, but I'll be still listening in.
Right on. I'll be
Peace
here.
and love always, weed nerds. Miranda Family Farms out. If I owe you guys some seeds from a giveaway, once my back's better, I'll do it. Mr. I grew some S dot. I didn't forget. Peace out, people.
One awesome dude right there. Thanks for popping in, brother.
Anytime.
Cheers, Mr. Red Setter Farms. I see you pop up. Hillbilly, how you doing? Cake in a cup. 420 Green got us. Who else we got rolling in here that's new? Of course, SoCal, how you doing? Operation Annihilation. That's funny. Your guest the other day had me up at 9. Who was that? He hates some Carl's Jr. Which one was that? Operation? Who's the recent? I don't know. I seen you. Cheers. How you doing? Oh shit, I can get back to the music till somebody pops in. Well, that was quick. D-Zombie, what's up?
What's happening?
Johnny Candace coming in. How's your day been,
How
brother?
you doing? Oh man, it's been one of those days, man. I got into a fight with a door last night.
Walk in, dude. I've done that shit a few times, man. Hopefully without your glasses on.
No, I had my glasses on, but I opened the back door and I went to do something and I was thinking about something else, so I shouldn't have been thinking about the other thing. And I went to move again, and the door is right here, and wham! I'm like, oh crap! I was like, oh shit, that's pretty deep. I went to the bathroom, got off a couple of times, went to bed. But today I had heating AC guy show up. It's the outdoor unit, right? It's not like a heat pump in the north. It's down here they use those split units, so they have to everything's outside, so they have to build the transition on the back. The guy builds the transition. He comes inside, gives me the bill for it. I write him a check. He leaves. I walk outside and look at the unit. Didn't look at the job before I paid him. Looked at him like it was centered on the pad, a brand new pad, which was leveled. It's a monster unit. It's a monster 3.5 ton unit. And it's the railing on the right bottom is hanging off a ½ inch, only half of it's on the pad. And the other side now is got 5 or 6 inches showing. So I took a picture of it and sent it to the AC guy, and he's like, "Oh, he's got to fix that." So he texted him. He said he's on his way back. He's coming back to fix it. I said, "Thank you." So he comes back, and I said something to him. He's like, he's going to fix it. I was like, if you'd have just done it the way I asked for it in the first place, we wouldn't be having this problem. I don't like this plastic pad. I asked you to do concrete. And he sends me a message back. This is at like 10 minutes of couple back and forth. And he said, you know what? He said, what's the word he used? He didn't use the word bitching, griping. He said, you're griping too much for me. He said, I'm done with this. He said, I'm done. He said, I'm walking off. He said, you can keep, you'll have the solar equipment. I'll take the money off the bill for the unit. And I went, if you ain't putting this solar up, I said, I'll see you in court. And I said, you know what? You can take the solar out of here. I'll pay for the shipping to get it out of here. Now I just got a message back from him saying, you know, I want to put your solar up. You know, he said, but you're just going to have to, if you don't like what I'm saying, tell me no, so I don't do it another way. Tell me the way you want it. Well, he's at the point now where I don't want the solar. You know, I'm just like, you just threatened to stick me with $48,000 worth of equipment and you're walking off. I think I'd like to talk to a judge about that, maybe. That's kind of extreme right there for just me bitching about a pad under an AC unit not being straight. You're going to walk off because of that? Oh, okay. All right. All right. So he didn't in so much an apologize, but he said he'd be here tomorrow because I had him rerun the wire. They ran a new cable under the whole length and up into the box to get the box off the back porch, which is there's a separate breaker lock box on the back porch just for the heat and an AC unit. So I want all that going. So they ran one from there to the breaker box. That was his son's company came in and did that, the 2 breakers on the outside for the unit. But I ain't got the bill for that yet, so who knows what that'll be. And I'm like, oh, this is no fun. I'm not having any fun with any of this. This is not enjoyable when the contractor doesn't like me complaining about the thing that's wrong, where he could have just said, yeah, I'll fix it. Yeah, you're right. You did say you wanted concrete. I said, you talked me into plastic. I didn't want plastic. I said, I wanted concrete and you talked me out of it. And that's what made him mad. I'm like, man, me saying you talked me out of it made you mad? And then he
There's
said,
something wrong with the speaker, man. I can hardly hear you.
For me?
Yeah, you're coming in all bubbly.
I can hear you all right. Cheers, Johnny. That's a pretty spiffy shirt you got there, by the way, brother.
Oh, you like that?
That I do.
It won't show on this damn thing.
I seen it when you come in. There it is.
There it is. There it is.
Eh.
I don't know what the hell. Yeah, WEedNerdWorld. That's it.
What's up, SoCal?
Not much. How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Fucking glad to be alive and glad to be here.
Absolutely.
There you go.
You have a close call?
Good to see you.
Kinda.
Every day's a close one down there.
Right? No, there's a tree stand right there, right near my hunting spot that I've had my eye on for 6-7 months now. It's been abandoned. It's, the straps are rotten out. There's a fucking tree branch in it. The tree branch has been there since I found it. So obviously it's abandoned. So I went to go climb up the tree the other day to take it and kind of fucked up. There was a cable lock through it, like a bicycle cable lock. And so I climbed up, cut all the little climbing sticks down, cut the straps off of the actual stand itself. And when I cut the last strap, I kind of like leaned over, out of the way because I figured it would fall. And it didn't. So I figured it was just kind of like stuck to the tree because it's been there so long. So on my way back down, I didn't have a safety harness or any of that shit, which was fucking stupid. And I was alone where there's no cell service. So I'm, 25 feet up a tree on the side of a hill. I just start climbing down and I'm figuring, as I come down, I'll cut these climbing sticks out. They're like little ladders that you secure to the tree. So I cut them all down, cut all the straps, get to the very bottom, cut the cable on the lock, and the fucking 3 of them fall down and the top one doesn't. I forgot I should have cut the cable at the top and unwrapped it from that last stand up there. So I got to figure out a way to go back up the tree and get the ladder. But the fucking the tree stand itself didn't come out of the tree. So I figured, screw it. The cable's still kind of connected to that. So I'll give it a good little yank. It'll, unwedge itself because the tree's grown around it. It'll pop out. I ended up putting ratchet straps and all kinds of shit around another tree and like trying to crank this thing off the tree. Turns out the fucking idiot lag bolted it to the tree.
Oh shit.
Well,
Now I got to figure out.
Secure.
I'm gonna take the freaking the impact up there tomorrow. Put the climbing sticks back on the tree. Climb back up the fucking tree and unbolt the damn thing and see if I can get her home and freshen her up.
Nice.
Well, I was just on the way back here before the show, and I was thinking about you, SoCal. But right before I got to the house, I looked to the right, and about 20 feet off the road, there standing a nice big old doe.
Yeah, fuck you. It just ain't right, man. I talked to one of the guys on one of the main hunting forums out here, San Diego County deal, and there's only been 5 deer killed in San Diego
This year?
this entire season. Season opened up on September 2nd, and there's been 5 deer killed.
That's crazy. Cheers, buddy.
That's because the mountain lions ate them all.
Pretty much. But then, you go to Texas, and these guys are shooting 5 a day.
Oh, yeah.
Just come to Michigan. You fucking fill up a truckload, probably.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'll be there.
They're running around around here like crazy. I just barely missed 3 of them. Broad daylight the other day.
Dang.
I got to sneak in between 2 and 3.
Well, I can tell you what, if I wouldn't have fucked up so many times, there would have been 6 deer killed in San Diego, but I got impatient or whatever and
Take a piss.
had to take a piss. 35 fucking yards away.
That deer just need to live another day.
Depends.
Well, he'll be dead in a couple of weeks.
Cheers, buddy.
Maybe.
You're muted.
It's got your scent now. It's never coming out.
SoCal, you hunt with a bow, but are most people using guns or everyone use bow?
No, where I hunt, it's archery only. You can't use a rifle.
Okay.
So, and I mean, you can rifle hunt in San Diego, just not places like Laguna, Palomar, any of those places. You got to go, a lot farther east.
Do they have separate rules out there for in places where there is where that is allowed? On like if you're in a tree stand, you can use a rifle, but if you're on the ground, you got to use a shotgun.
No, pretty much. Our rules are pretty simple out here. We don't have to wear orange. We don't have to worry about all that bullshit. You don't got to go out there looking like a fucking escaped prisoner in an orange jumpsuit. But you can only hunt certain spots, which is anywhere in the country. You can't go on private land. You can't go down to the state park, shit like that. But if you're, depending on the location that you're at, you can either hunt with a bow, a rifle, a shotgun, whatever, or all of the above. But places that are more populated, you obviously can't use a firearm just because, we got, like the Pacific Crest Trail goes right through here. It goes from here to Canada. It's kind of like the Appalachian Trail of California, right? A lot of that goes through the area that I hunt. So they don't want rifle hunters up there shooting some hiker.
Make the hikers wear orange.
Yeah. Make them go, make them go around during hunting season.
I don't know if there's, I mean, I don't know why they have a deer season if there's not an overpopulation of deer.
They kind of have to.
Why?
You can't ban hunting. You know what I mean? It's like banning people from telling them they can go get their own food.
That's true, but most of the hunting we do is based upon control of the species to keep it from overpopulating and to keep
That's
it
what-
as
well-
a right level. So,
Yeah, but that's why they limit the number of tags that are issued as well. You know?
yeah. Where the hell are all the deer at for all these tags are issuing?
Catalina.
They only have Catalina.
Yeah.
They got on a boat.
I think I heard they pay, like, there's a bounty, right? So if you went over there, you could collect money because they have a problem with overpopulation of a few species.
No.
but deer.
There's no their deal on that one is that to go over there and hunt, you're gonna pay like $4,000 by the time you're done. But what they're trying to do is because that island, Catalina, for those of you guys that don't know, it's a pretty badass little island off of like LA. About 30 something miles off LA.
Yeah.
Anyway, back in the early 20s, they imported buffalo and pigs and deer and just all kinds of shit, you know.
Well,
And,
the Wrigley, the guy from Gum, Wrigley, that those were the years he had control of the island, and yeah, he imported like buffalo, all these animals, and
yeah,
some of them have become what's the term? Invasive species of plants and animals. Like,
Yeah.
they messed up the local ecology over there by bringing over all kinds of. At one point, it was like his own little personal zoo.
yeah. Well, what they're doing now is all of the buffalo that are over there, they already killed off like 3/4 of the herd. And then the rest, they went and sterilized them. So the buffalo, you know, eventually just die off because no repopulation. But now what they want to do is they want to hire some company to come in from, I think it's either Maryland or Massachusetts, one of the two. And they're going to take helicopters up and go kill all the deer on the island and just let them fucking rot.
Really?
Yeah.
What, do they have wasting disease or something?
No, there's nothing wrong with them other than the fact that there's like 4,000 deer on what's that island, like 35 miles end to end, I think. So there's way overpopulated, and it's a tourist destination.
Yeah. Well,
So they're coming down into town and all that shit now. So
the federal government
Avalon.
started wiping them out on parks, right?
yeah, Avalon.
But they
I got a
process
solution.
all that stuff.
All you have to do is skip a little bit of the people season and let the hunter season go over there for free and take care of the problem.
That's what they're trying to do, is figure out a way to make that possible. That
I mean, 'cause you might as well feed people with that instead of letting it shit rot, so the fucking people that go over to visit are complaining about the dead smell.
right.
You know?
That, or if they don't want to let people hunt, go fucking dart those sons of bitches, put them on a boat, bring them over to the mainland and let them go so they can repopulate the herds here.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be a good idea.
Kind of makes more sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I can't see them getting away with that in California.
Cheers, Carlton. Pharmacy Seed Network. How you doing, brother?
Cheers, Eagle. I'm doing good. Cheers, Rez, Johnny, SoCal, buddy. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Sorry to hear you.
Yeah. We got a quiet moment there. Come on.
Hey,
Ship them here to Vegas, man.
what?
You ship them here to Vegas.
Oh, dear.
Nothing to eat in Vegas.
Buy them
Yeah,
all,
you send them to California, they'll make their way out here.
all plane tickets, send them to the sanctuary cities.
California.
I just can't see them because that them kill them on that island and just letting them die and rot. You would think they would at least make a deal to feed them to the homeless,
Right?
process them and feed. That's what they do
Well,
in national parks.
Yeah, you
Weird
can't do
enough,
that. They got policy
they have-
against that.
They have weird laws in Avalon, like, yeah, they'll just ship you back. They don't really have homeless there. They have
Yeah.
like a law about it. Like my trimmers from years, that they live on boat, and they used to pay to be in Oceanside Harbor or different places, but that's going on a year and a half. Yeah, they're living in Avalon where it's way cheaper. And he was over here about a month ago. Yeah, because he does construction. Is like he just more work than he can handle, and it's like this weird little touristy. It's a cool place. I've gone over there over the years, spent the night, and it's kind of small, but it's a little island, like he says, like 30 miles off the coast. There's a group of islands, the Channel Islands.
Yep.
And yeah, Avalon's like even when you go there, there's like an old ballroom casino from like the heyday, because there was a time when Wrigley and a bunch of celebrities from the early days partied out there.
Well, you don't have to pay to moor out there, do you? You only pay if you have a
thing.
slip.
Yeah, where the cost and the politics of living on your boat in the Southern California areas. Yeah.
Yeah. My brother
mess.
moors his boat in Puerto Rico. He doesn't have it in a slip. He has it moored. So as long as you got a neighbor to watch it when you're not around. So I thought about doing
it's actually easier to live in a fucking park behind a school in your tent than it is to live on your boat in California.
Yeah. It's a whole thing. and they'll take your boat. They'll seize your boat. It's like kind of like same thing if your car gets towed, but with a boat thing, it's basically like, the cost of getting it out and all that's more than a lot of the boats are worth.
Yep.
So you're not allowed to moor a boat out there?
You have to pay no matter what.
Yeah.
Even if you're just moored out in the middle of the water.
And follow the rules of the harbor and whatever they put in place, which they're really not friendly. Like the harbor would rather have people that just have their boat there but don't live on it. They basically frown upon people. They make it hard for you to live on your boat.
Yep. There's a couple of the little like harbor clubs or boat clubs, whatever you want to call them, where you can get your boat put in a slip there for all year long, no problem, but you can only be on your boat for a maximum of 72 hours. And then you got to leave.
Marina Del Rey at one point, and the only way you can live on a boat in Marina Del Rey is if you get a slip that's been previously a live upon. It's been already approved for a live upon.
Yeah.
So they try to limit the number.
Brandon and Christian, they're brothers, and God, they've worked for me off and on for years, but they've always had a dream or a plan that they're going to sail around the world, live on a boat around the world. And they don't have a lot of money or anything, or like even recently, somehow, they upgraded, like they're selling their boat that they put some money into. So they made some money because like a lot of people have pretty nice boats that they don't want to pay the fees, whatever. And I'm surprised because twice they've been like given boats, like not like boats that are worth money. Oh, they needed work and they had issues and they were on the verge of all that. But yeah, boats are almost like dime a dozen if you're in that culture, you know. And
Well, you know what boat actually stands for, right? Break out another 1,000.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
Average cost of a boat
That's it.
that's sitting in salt water just to maintain is $100 per foot. So if you got a 30-footer, just figure you're going to put out a minimum of $3,000 just to maintain the outside.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And a lot of those, they've been in mooring for years. They haven't been upkept. And next thing you know, if you take,
Barnacle for 3 foot off the
they'll
bottom.
slide it right over to you.
Yeah.
I always thought boat meant broke on a trailer.
That deal.
I like that hat, Johnny, by the way. I keep looking up and noticing the bottom of that brill there. Pretty cool. What is it on the top? What's the top at?
It goes all the way out. You can't even see it with that thing on. It's a bud. It's a picture of a bud.
I can see the bud. What's the hat itself, though?
This one here was given to me by Russ Super. It's Recharge.
Yeah, there we go. Nice hat. That's
Yeah,
bad.
I tricked him into taking his hat off, and then he left it.
Nice.
No, Johnny, you're close to you're in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Since I follow Formula One, I've been watching a lot of these videos recently of the Nevada citizens posting stuff, complaining about all this crazy stuff and all this taxpayer dollars and delays and disruption to life. Have you experienced any of that because of the Formula One construction and them coming to town?
Yeah, Vegas Boulevard's fucked up. But you know what? It's going to bring a lot of revenue, so these people need to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And go with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like, you get the Raiders in here and then you complain about all the traffic. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you knew that shit was coming.
Yeah. No,
So this
the
is
same people that make these videos about the crying about the F1 race. Yeah, they're the same people crying about the Raiders too. Yeah, as you bring that up. Yeah, they're just a certain group of people, whatever, make content bitching about whatever.
Yeah,
Hell yeah. What is up, Mr. Bread Setter? How you been, brother?
Red set it on. What's up,
Guys?
brother?
Hey man, it's been a while. It's good to see everybody on here. It's really I'm always seeing you guys. It's good to be here, man. Eagle, thanks for inviting me out. It's usually just chilling back right now. Yeah, I don't want to interrupt what you guys are saying. Please keep proceeding. I'll jump in shortly.
We were just talking shit about race cars and stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
And hunting, we've been talking about hunting and race boats. Let's see what else.
Well, shit, it's
A little bit of
hunting. We're
So Red Setter, what's going on, man? How you been?
I've
What's
been
going
good.
on in your life?
Life is good. I just had a x-ray today to figure out what some of my neck joint shit was going on. I got a little arthritis in my neck, so I'll be taking care of that for the rest of my days. So, trying to stay easy. We've been doing hella herbal medicines and stuff around here. Our gardens pretty much all harvested. All of our every flowers, mint, obviously our cannabis is still in process of getting coming down. We got some rain down here, lower end of the state, and we still have a couple of plants out there getting wet, but everything's looking great, man. The temps have really cooled down. It's not really botrytis season, as far as like hot dew point weather goes. So, everything's just nice and chilly out there. We got some really nice harvesting weather coming up. It's going to be in the 60s next week. Trying to hold out a couple of the plants for that. And Things have been good, man. Things have been really good. It's been a good year. We got married, Becca and myself. We just got married in August. Anybody that hasn't been following along,
Congratulations,
so
brother.
thanks very much, man. We did it here
It's
in our
awesome when you
backyard.
find that one.
I appreciate it,
Hey
man.
man, just remember, the minute you said I do, she says not anymore.
That's right. That's right.
Don't let that start yet. Come on.
Yeah, dude. It's been a blessing, man. We're meant for each other for sure. You know,
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
we
You'll be
compliment.
looking back in this 60 years later, smoking a joint.
A few months ago, you gave did some content where you gave a tour of your garden, which was like, you showed the cannabis, but you had a lot of other, like you say, herbs, and you had a lot of cool stuff going. All that came out great this season.
It did, man. Yeah, we actually grew all of the flowers for our wedding. So all the centerpieces for all the tables came out of our garden. All the decor around all of our boutonnieres. We had cannabis leaves in our boutonnieres. Becca's bouquet had cannabis in it. Every table centerpiece had a spring of cannabis, and this was mid-August, so it was flowering. So we had flowering cannabis springs in our centerpieces. It was
Nice.
Pardon me.
Amazing.
Pardon me. I'm not familiar with you or where you're at. What state are you in, out of curiosity? And next,
Michigan. All Michigan.
Yeah, man. It says Polarity Science on here because I'm on my Zoom account, but I go by Red Setter Farm. Our caregiver service is Red Setter Farm. We have a permaculture / natural food medicine homesteading page under Rosemary's Oasis. And we have a YouTube channel, and we just dropped a video on our chicken coop yesterday. So we do regenerative, organic, no-till, closed loop farming outdoor here. Some definitely clap for that, but we also do hydroponics indoor, so our philosophy is that we're not elitist in any specific way, just whatever works for us. And indoor, honestly, hydroponic just works a little better for us. We're still running HPS and stuff like that, so we've got a long way to come up the indoor scale. We've got a lot of work ahead of us. We definitely want to go organic, go LED in the future. But for right now, we're really perfecting our outdoor season. We grow all year long. We're working on, doing cold frames and even having winter gardens. So we built a greenhouse this past spring, just a small one, just a little propagation house for starting vegetables and cannabis. And actually, the most success we've gotten in cannabis came this year, and I think having that greenhouse for that little hump of the shoulder season when we were hardening off. It's very difficult to go from indoor to outdoor in the sunshine. You get cold nights, you get this and that, you get the direct sun in the spring, and it bleaches the plant. So we got a really good opportunity to harden off in that space, and I think that really helped with the success.
for sure.
Incredibly thankful, man.
Awesome setup, dude. And I got your YouTube channel. Just subscribe. I'll check it out. I have I do.
And he didn't mention it, but I know him as like one of the Michigan Grows Bros.
Michigan Bros Grow Show. Yeah, dude. That's a like regular Sunday, Monday night deal. Started on there with Eagle, as a matter of fact, on there. And and that's how I know Eagle, and that's how I've actually, in Eagle's first, I don't know, year of doing this show, I was on there pretty regularly. The only thing that kept me from coming on has just been getting busy and catching a little bit of an earlier sleep schedule. You guys are on at 9 o'clock, man. I can jump in here now. It's super easy. Those 2 a.m. shows had me, I was snoozing. So
It's brutal, right? Yeah.
there was a time where I was up all night working, and then as things change, right, that my sleep schedule has also changed. I've done a lot more going with the sun, I suppose, getting up a little earlier, going to bed a little earlier. But otherwise, still doing the same old, still working on natural gardening. And shout out to Buddy as a fellow deadhead as well. Michigan Bros, and as well, just a huge lover of music, jumping in and we actually did our honeymoon in Boulder and toured the Dead. We went down and tried to catch them in Deer Creek. We did a parking lot show in Deer Creek, caught Shakedown there, did some shopping, and then went out to Boulder and caught three nights in Boulder, which were fucking face melting. So big deadheads, both myself and Becca. We love supporting both communities as much as we can, supporting artists, supporting, and I'm going to transition here, supporting local artists, local craftsmen, companies, as much as we possibly can. If you happen to find us at an event, we have glass art from local artists. Shout out Kazoo Glass, Diligent Glass, 248 Glass, all local to Michigan. We've even got some stuff from Toledo, from Tube Socks, who does stained glass work. We've got friends, Clay Pipes, out in St. Louis. And, you know, we just, we really try having a little bit of everything from everybody. We really like to support that. And our typical event space is in Lansing. Lansing has this awesome community center called The Fledge, named The Fledge. And this community center helps out disenfranchised. It helps out anybody struggling with addiction. They help out anybody struggling with finances. They have a food bank, a clothing pantry, a food shelter. And recently they've teamed up with Third Eye Muse, and the Third Eye Muse Craft Affair has launched out, where crafters, glass artists such as 248 Glass, lots of hashers, lots of processors, lots of all small batch. You won't find turkey bags sitting on tables at this event. You won't find bulk sales. If you're looking for duffel bags or anything like that, you're not going to find it at this event. We, as a matter of fact, are very strict. We stick with our state minimums at these events unless you have a medical card. So 2.5 ounces, 2.5 ounces for a medical patient, things like that. We want to make sure that everything's properly managed and that there's no sore eyes from any entity, whether it be a city, state official, cop, or anything like that might want to come through there. And I mentioned this a little bit in the chat there, and kind of the reason to kind of come on here, and not to so much blow up the space or, you know, put myself out there as this, but more or less to just spread some awareness that a member of the community who has been at a lot of these events is now threatening to shut it down with police, to threaten that space specifically, a community center that helps the disenfranchised, the poor, the cannabis caregivers who are struggling at the moment. They're talking 20 different small businesses that will set up a table at this event and have safe access for medical patients, sick patients, recovering patients that need access to their medicine. And we just kind of have somebody in the community, I would rather say not in our community, somebody that is pretending to be a part of this community. I don't want to talk shit. I don't want to like come off and say that, you know, do the thing, you know what I mean? I want to be very respectful. The dude's probably having a bad day or something, but nonetheless, he's threatening countless lives with this, countless. And to be honest, Primo Farms, that's who it is. And it's not the Metric Primo Farms. I guess there's a Metric Primo Farms, but there's another one. And I have no reason to be affiliated or associated with them. And, you know, I've been asked to spread the word. So I'm doing my diligence and just spreading the word out there. I made a temporary post on my story. I like to keep my Instagram as positive and just cannabis as possible. There was some screenshots that were displayed publicly by Third Eye Craft Affair, Third Eye Muse, of their discussion. And basically, because he didn't lock in time, and the promoter can't just say, yeah, I'll hold your spot, because if he holds somebody's spot, they don't show up, the promoter loses out and other people lose out on that spot specifically. So he missed his deadline. The promoter said it was too late. Sorry, you can't. The guy said, you either let me vend or nobody vends, and we'll shut that shit down. And that's what he said to him. And the dude threatened to be a narc. The dude threatened to basically shut it down with whatever means necessary, which, you know, that probably means calling in the SWATs or whatever. But you go into this event space, even as a cop, nobody's going to sell you bulk material. You're not going to have any reason to shut it down. It's also a private event. We're doing our due diligence, and for the sake of patient access, I'll take a misdemeanor, to be honest, if that's what it takes. So the show must go on. We're going to be at the Fledge on Sunday. We'll be there supporting the community. We'll be there accepting donations and doing whatever we do in our gray area of the law, like we are allowed to do. We are both caregivers. We have our cards. We're not part of the caregiver scene that does not have cards, and I only quote caregivers because we're all caregivers who sell cannabis, but some of us actually are licensed through the state to do that, and we are. So we have all the proper credentials, which means that we're not afraid of a $500 slap on the wrist. I've gotten one before. Sorry. This is cannabis. This is our livelihood. This is many other people's livelihoods, and we're gonna continue to do this without fear, in the sake of manifestation, in the sake of positive thinking, positive thought, and just understanding that people need access. So, not to talk shit or do anything like that, but just to spread awareness that there is a sort of a Trojan horse, snake in the grass, threatening the livelihoods of Michigan caregivers whose livelihoods have been threatened for the last couple of years by the MCMA. Now the Michigan Wholesalers Association, who's still active, trying to shut us down. I understand having it difficult, or we're all trying to eat, we're all having a hard time. That's not the way to go about it. If you missed your opportunity, if you were late, if I was late, that would not be my response to Nate. That would not be my response to the promoters. My response would be, thank you. I'll continue to support you guys. Catch me next time. Here's my deposit, in fact, for the next one. Plug me in on the next one.
Or hey, is there a waiting list? Because maybe I could get in last minute.
And honestly, I talked to Nate. If the dude hadn't have been so dramatically, overly abrupt and entitled about the matter and threatening, he would have worked with him. But the guy took whatever, and I don't know if Third Eye was let's say brash or anything about declining him, or how it went, but I just talked to Third Eye, and it sounds to me like there was just there was a communication. The communication went as it went, and there was a lack of communication after that, and that's how it went, and the spots filled up, and once the spots filled up, the dude didn't reach out. We pay in advance. I don't pay the day. I catch him at a different time. I pay for it in advance. That's how you lock in. You can't just say, hey, put me on the list and I'll pay you when I get there, because I might not show up, and that's a spot that somebody else could have taken and had access with their patients. So it is what it is as far as miscommunication, or just getting in line. But yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right, buddy. Get in line. When's the next one that I can get in on? There's definitely a better way to go. There's a more appropriate way. There's a more adult way to go about this. This isn't the trapping days of everybody's kicking each other's ass and kicking each other's door down and stepping on each other's toes. And I'll be there with our cannabis right next to somebody else with cannabis, and we'll sit here and we'll swap samples and stuff, and we support each other. This is a community about support, and I want to promote positivity within our community. That's all we do. We stand out here with a smile on our face. We're all in the trenches in the cannabis scene in Michigan. We're at least from the craft small scale side. Those of us that are still trying to hold ourselves to value, those of us that are still trying to hold ourselves to standards, there's a struggle, but we're staying positive with it. I don't want to let that deter my happiness and affect other people's happiness. And I sure don't want to throw 20 other plus community center under the bus. Something about that to me is immoral. Something about that to me is non-cannabis, non-culture, especially non-culture. I mean, what was the thing back then? You don't be a rat. You don't snitch. That's culture. That's what I grew up with. I started going
for just a yeah. He missed his spot on the money he was planning on making. So to me, all I see is a man who's about the money, from what you're saying.
Yes. And to me, again, there are aspects of the culture that exists, but again, that's not the culture that I affiliate myself with. I affiliate myself with a culture that is giving. We give oil away to people. You know, you tell me you got a medical card, I give you some oil. You tell me your back hurts and you're not asking about anything, you're just talking, I'm gonna give you some oil. I'm gonna give it to you. You know what I mean? It's not about the money. It's about just being there. It's about getting other people's support. And if other people have the money and they want to donate it to our cause, we'll happily accept that because we need it. But you know what? We're also going to give. And that's where the community comes together. And I think that's a big point that some of these people are missing.
Need more venues. Need way more venues.
You're absolutely right, man. Yes, absolutely.
I mean, it's just, there's just not enough of that kind of shit going around.
And
I feel envious because all we have out here is dispensaries.
And I'm sorry, where are you from?
I'm out in Las Vegas.
You're in Las Vegas. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's a heavy dispensary scene out there.
Yeah, it's all dispensary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you my observation.
I want to chime in on that a little bit because yes, we do. We could use more events, but they need to be more events like Red's talking and a little less.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
That's exactly. I wish we had anything like that here in New York.
There's too big of a money
But,
grab
yeah.
going on. And
Real quick, my observation for the last couple of years, I'm in Southern Cal and NorCal. I see that firsthand, but I follow everything. You know, there's communities. We got the Northwest and Colorado and Oklahoma, New York now, Michigan, right? The place that seems to have the most like true community, it is Michigan. I envy, like I watch, follow, like I realize, oh, I watch Michigan Bro Show, and most of this is, a lot of it's based in Michigan. Haven't been to Michigan in decades. I'd like to come out there. Like, it's intriguing to me because like there seems to be true like community, or at least some people trying to still hold on to that. Oh, out in California, we have a lot of fucking events. They're all like the opposite end of the spectrum, right? Like that's just accepted here. And even though everyone chills and acts like a big family, oh no, it's a dog eat dog, shit talking, competitive thing. Where I get the sense out there, a lot of you guys are like put your can't. It's not like that as much. Oh, there's a sect that's trying to make it that way, and it seems like a few of you guys are like trying to keep the good old, like the right morals. And yeah, I appreciate that. And patience, true like patience. Yeah, they don't have access a lot. Even in our state, it started with 215. Now the medical thing has been long since basically crushed.
And Michigan's sort of following the way of California in that sense, buddy, where a lot of the patient access has to come from home growers. They can access things like edibles and distillate pens and some mid-grade flour for a reasonable cost, but the high-grade flour is $60 an eighth still. You can get an $80 ounce also, but but there's also if you're, let's say, a patient who does require pain relief and edibles is your goal, or oil is your goal, or something, just don't smoke. If it were me, so now with my arthritis, I can't have sugar. I go into a flare up. I can't have meat. I can't have a ton of stuff. I can't have gluten. So there goes all the cookies on the shelf. You know what I mean? Any of those things, and I got a headache all fucking day. So there's a patient trying to look for relief, they can't get it off the sugar. I mean, these edibles are candy. It's few and far between that there's a medical focused, let's say, apothecary type dispensary. Whereas in the traditional market still, I mean, we're making raw oil. We know lots of people that make raw oil. We source organic CBD powder. We do CBD isolate oils for people who can't have THC, things like that. And so we're still working directly with patients. We still have people coming up to us at every single show saying how much the oil has helped them. And I mean, we have oil that has 600 milligrams per gram, where the oil in the shop is like maybe a couple hundred milligrams per gram. And it's usually a distillate, or it's very clear. It's lacking many cannabinoids, many profiles.
You know, this, what you're saying reminds me of this. There was a CNN thing, like the latest Sanda Gupta what, but it was on cannabis over 70, the whole hour, right? I watched it like 6-8 months ago. And I'm sure somebody else had to have seen it, but if you hadn't, it's an interesting perspective, because that dude goes and meets different people using cannabis at different levels in the over 70-year-old range, right? And it was very obvious, like, oh, they don't trust dosing, that the stores are this, and like, it wasn't like I remember watching that and basically came away with the thing, no one's really serving this certain thing that's only going to grow, because like, even myself is 60. Like, a lot of the people this age right now were like, they didn't smoke weed their whole life. Some of them are coming into weed, and that's a whole special patient that needs to be, and actual dosing, it becomes really super important.
Yes.
Like a lot of them, they did a poll, like, what's their biggest fears? Oh, edibles. Even though edibles is like, should be the easiest place for someone that age to consume, because smoking isn't, and hot vaporizing isn't that good for you when you're old like that either.
Right.
But then there's a disconnect in like trusting the even though these are legal brands, like this was all legal. This was like they were buying from, dispensaries that the package said whatever it said.
That's why what Farms
that's
cool, because he's got a single source operation going, and that right there is key when you're talking about medicine.
And honestly, we really don't
exactly
desire to, branch out the way that other companies want to, like bring in other people's product. If we had a storefront, I would love to help other businesses and other people's products. But for us, we only provide what we can sell, or what we can, have available, what we can manufacture, and basically not to overgrow ourselves, to overgrow, to allow for more competition. We do want to allow for more competition, because us just, putting ourselves all over the entire map is kind of like, there's travel cost, like for me, it's a carbon thing, just stay small, stay local, stay community, and let other communities operate the way that they should, and things would probably go a lot smoother. We don't need to become, the top of the food chain or anything like that. We just want to exist. We just want to be here amongst everybody else. We want to have our niche, our product space, whatever. We also want to be able to collaborate with others the way that we can. But we prefer that single source thing, because we are able to talk about our products far more than if, somebody brought us a load of flour and said, talk about my flour for me. Well, I can only do so much. You could give me you could break down your SOP for me, but I still can only do so much. Becca and I have a narrative for our flour that includes what we put into it, all of our intentions, our love, and everything. And that is part of what makes our cannabis. So I can't put our love into your cannabis unless I'm working on it. You know what I mean? I mean, I can love your cannabis, but there's a difference there. We have a good solid network of promoters here in Michigan. There's probably, I'm going to say a half dozen solid ones, but there's a dozen plus, maybe 2 dozen, 3 dozen that are still on like the traditional side. There's farmers markets occur all over the state. A few of them are a little bit more well advertised than others. recently we've had some, and now where it starts to get watered down is having the metric, which isn't a bad thing when you have metric flooding in. But then you have like some facets that are trying to, you know, almost virtue signal to the caregivers while you know, kind of patting the, you know, the corporations on the back. Nothing wrong with the corporations, except for the entities that are actually deliberately trying to shut down the caregivers and the so we at one time the MCMA, Michigan Cannabis Manufacturers Association, was responsible for lobbying. There's a whole mess on that side of the thing. People indicted, putting people in jail, all kinds of shit on the policymaker side of things for accepting things like bribes and all kinds of stuff from some of these businesses, who in fact lobbied in to shut down the caregivers, to shut down actually home growing. They didn't want to, we were allowed to grow 12 plants as an adult, as a household, and they wanted to shut that down. They wanted to make us caregivers drop 3 of our patients. They wanted us to choose which 3 patients we had to drop and only keep 2 of them for the sake of, you know, their businesses. And they were trying to be successful at it. Fortunately, the community came out and helped shut that down. The community is way stronger than any negativity. That is just by far. So they try. So what'll happen is you'll have you know, an event promoter that's, you know, thinking they're doing the right thing by saying, well, we're gonna try to combine the two, but they don't understand how logistically impossible it is to have a corporation that cannot exist without supporting the MCMA directly. Because what you end up having is, if you want to have a licensed event, you have to have a point of sale there. So you could have craft caregiver, not caregiver, but licensed and metric licensed. Let's say you were a caregiver. Let's say you're now a metric licensed grower. You're doing everything by the book. You still love your community. You're not part of the MCMA. You want to be a part of this event space. But here's the deal. You can't directly sell your products to the consumers. There has to be a point of sale, like a dispensary there. Unfortunately, every dispensary in the state is colluded and collaborated somehow, some way, maybe minus 1 or 2. There's probably, I don't want to speak for every dispensary owner. Okay. There's a few that do not have these products on their shelves, but it's very difficult to operate, to sustain as a dispensary without buying, you know, the MCMA products. I'm not going to throw any companies under the bus, but MCMA products specifically. Hey, cheers, brother. Hey, thanks for it was nice meeting you.
Well, like, okay, California that like has big events and have been known for that. That same model, that's how it is here. The license, people can have a booth, and then they basically tell you to whatever the code, like E9 or whatever, because then there's a centralized place that is a license, like they've been given they bid to get this job where all they're going to do is move everyone's stuff, right? And it's all pre-packed, and it's a point of sale where and there's no like, even they have cameras and stuff. You can't like even show. It has so many rules.
So many.
And the events still go on. One thing I notice is these places pay a lot of money to be there and have this whole thing, and I don't see a lot of commerce happening. Like, you know, it's like people come and hang out, and even some of the problems at the Emerald Cup was that one year the security was like taking some people had more than the small amount, and they and there's trappers going on there too. So like, there's a whole, it just killed the whole vibe. Those legal events, like you're saying, you can't really coexist with them. They try to make that there's like a section that's craft or whatever, but no, those people are all part of the same.
So we're at,
I know you said, corporate, I don't have a problem about it. No, the corporations are trying to crush us, dude. That's what's happening.
I know.
They're not our friend.
I'm only speaking for the ones that like were that are still, you know, caregivers for the most part, that have a there, because there's some class A's. We have some class A's and some micro businesses that aren't trying to. So if you had a micro business there, but none of them, I'm specifically speaking of a recent event that we had here that they were kind of virtue signaling to the caregiver market, saying, hey, come hang out and be a caregiver here alongside your corporate buddies, where the corporate buddies that they were taking money because you got to pay to be a vendor at these events. They're taking you money and supporting these corporate entities are selling the products that the MCMA sells. So they're giving them money. So in short, there's a money swap there's money handling. You're accepting, taking, whatever, giving money to the policymakers trying to shut out growers and stuff. And there's a huge conflict of interest in that. And I don't think that the promoters really understand how logistically impossible it is to bring those two together without there being some sort of animosity there, you know, because that's what we had is hell. I wouldn't attend the event. I said, no, I see exactly who the dispensary is that you're allowing sell all the stuff, and they sell the brands that are trying to shut us out. Like, that's not caregiver, you know, that's not supporting us at all. That's like putting a bunch of like cats into or like putting a whole bunch of hungry poor people into a king's chamber, watching him be a glutton on his pile of food. You know what I mean? That's kind of what that is. So you know, that's some of the events on the metric side. Other events on the metric side, yeah, they won't let you bring in your own cannabis. That ended up happening at this exact event, and they didn't tell anybody. They just waited for people to show up to tell them they couldn't bring in cannabis. They didn't really tell anybody that it was a metric event. So you had trappers coming from out of state that originally thought it was an event, you know, that they were going to come up and score some caregiver product because it was marketed towards caregivers, and no caregivers were vending. Nobody was allowed to pick up anything except for licensed products, which has a cap of 2.5 ounces. So anybody coming up looking for a quarter pound, anything like that had turned away. So I can see a lot of unhappy consumers, patients, for the name of safe access. Just terrible transparency, bad logistics all around. But anyway, the handful of good promoters that throw some of these smaller craft events, you know, that are actually working. And buddy, I don't want to discredit your statement at all. The corporations are shutting us down. Fuck them. You're absolutely right. For the sake of any issues, you know, anybody coming out to
well,
I
like,
don't want to
we're not alone. This, like, every small business that used to be people in fabric shop, people in this little shop, that shop. That's right. Why you see so many empty. It's all Amazon, Walmart, whatever happened. The biggest corporation over time made it to, yeah, who owns a small business? That used to be like, yeah, pick your business. You could sell many products and make a fair living. All those went away.
You're right.
Like, you know.
No, so I want to jump in here a little bit. You know, I've been patiently waiting. First of all, I want to say, Red, my respect for you and Becca is ever growing, and it's been a fucking honor to know you, brother. And you jump on at any point and make us aware of anything that needs to be said. Do not be a stranger. I do have tons of respect for you. Secondly, I just want to say, at one point, I kind of thought, and I still think it should be a way, there is just a handful of really good-hearted promoters in Michigan. I'm seeing the back to the money grab. Too many people think a gathering has to entail a cup, you know what I mean? Some big competition, when the medicine of it all is being lost in front of the fucking hype and all the fucking contests and the fucking egos and bullshit. What I've always kind of talked about, and I'd like to hear your opinion, is how do we set up, I hate to use the word union, but like a good network of our caregivers to where a caregiver maybe pays some type of due, but to a nonprofit network that takes your dues, sets up events, lets, you know, said member table and be part of event, and all proceeds from event keep the ever-going network alive, you know what I mean, on a non-profit donatable basis. Where that also network has a website that outside of events has a list of trusted good caregivers that they can just put in a fucking zip code and go, okay, outside events, these are great caregivers that we trust and are part of the network. Why is it such a hard task for us to set something like that up?
I feel like it should have been done years ago, Eagle. I agree with that, especially the way that before 2018, before recreational told us all the additional restrictions that we had for cannabis, back when it was a little bit easier, to associate with patients and caregivers, to collaborate and things like that. It would have been a great time to get that started. I still don't think we're too late and too far behind. I think it's something that we can do. I think that it's slowly progressing that way. You see like Gems and Genetics is making theirs a private event now. You have to buy tickets ahead of time, things like that. You almost have to join their club, so to speak. Third Eye Craft Affairs talking about being more of a private club where you join the club. Any caregivers who are on the team join the club, and it's more of it hasn't really used the word nonprofit, but like a club to start, but that is where that would go. Now, I would love to just shout out the Third Eye Craft Affair, because one of the best parts about this not being a cash grab is that 1 year running strong, almost every weekend there's been an event, and they have said either $10 at the door that goes, it goes to the community center, it gets split up, or 3 cans of food. If you got some non-perishables in your pantry and you don't have $10, or if you can make it to a dollar store and get fucking 3 cans of tuna fish for $1.50 or something like that, you can get in. Now, recently they've had to up it a little bit because costs are going up for some stuff, but for the last year, that's been the model. It's a food grab. It's a community grab. They're trying to grab the community, bring it together. And I think that more events that work that way, you're starting to see the event promote, say, if you have a medical card, you come in for free. Sometimes that's just a pull for attendance, but at the same time, good. Let the medical patients in for free. Let people come in for donations of whatever you can, and then that goes to a local food bank or whatever it is. Those are all great ways that we can start nonprofits and come together and do that, instead of threatening each other with shutting each other down over whatever kind of nonsense that is.
Well, but even if the guy wasn't late, it's like if you're trying to have an organization like that, and you have a full house already, and you have a certain creed, what you're trying to create there, then the promoter should have control over, not everybody's worthy. You definitely don't want the cash grab people, or this there. That's not the vibe of this.
And that's actually a cool part of that, buddy, is that early on he made a rule, a guidance, to say no turkey bags. That was one of the things. He didn't want any turkey bags on the table. He wanted presentation, professional presentation out there. No slabs laying out, no open slabs. I've been to dirt tracks where there's dust in the air and there's just open slabs and it's just covered in dirt. You know what I mean? Come on, what's the quality in that? He wants quality products, quality medicine for quality, patients, community members, whatever. And so he does a very good job of vetting whoever is coming in. And so you're right. It may not even be your last in line. It may just be you are not up to par. Your ethics are not up to par with our standards, and that's fine. If you were to tell me that I need to make some changes with my model, that's on me. I'll take that as constructive criticism. As the adult that I am, I take things constructively. If you tell me to fuck off I will take it constructively. You know what I mean? I did something to probably reward that. Now, if I'm just passing by and you say fuck off, I'm just going to ignore it. You know what I mean? Whatever. I ignore shit. But that's you know, the difference in the type of people that we do have.
Well, here's like, I've been selling weed for like 46 years, growing it for 34 years.
God bless you.
Okay. Way before there was like any of these legal type people. But even amongst my friends that are my true friends, I have a term, like even as people come and go, or why they, I call them money grubbers, right?
Yeah.
Hey, some of them are like fine, decent people, but they just have a certain like profit ratio or money grubbers, like whatever you want to call that. Oh, I try. Oh no, I don't. I don't associate. Like I've learned it like over the years, hard way, many times. But when it comes to like the legal market and the brands and dispensaries and the huge majority of all that, those are all money grubbers.
Yes, sir.
Well,
Yes.
I think it's a good time to kind of point out the difference. There's a wide range of audience going on here, and we're speaking more on a Michigan level and understanding kind of the difference in what's happening and the difference between the Third Eye Craft Affair and some other events is kind of important. Mad props to Nate. He has definitely held true to the integrity of the medical here in Michigan. The Michigan Medical Marijuana Act is very, very important, and some of you guys have heard me talk about it here before. We've been here in the trenches. It is the trenches. And there was once a time when our events, our farmers markets were ran exactly the way that Nate is choosing to do so. And it's very important for people to understand the difference between our people enacted Michigan Medical Marijuana Act and our patients and our caregivers and what has happened since 2018. So much of it has been lost in translation. And again, mad props to Third Eye for holding true and keeping it and trying to bring it back in a sense as much as possible. There is a difference. We can all get high, as I've said a million times over. We can all get high, but it started because cannabis is medicine. Period. End of story. We wouldn't be where we are today if cannabis wasn't medicine. It's because of the oil that we're able to do the things that we're able to do with cannabis at all in any way, shape, or form. And that getting lost in translation over the years has been devastating to some of us that have been here trying to help others understand why it's medicine, how to use it as medicine, and how to help their friends, their families, etc. In other areas, it should be looked at as your areas kind of go forward, because there is a difference here in Michigan, and one did step on the other. And we do have our corporate market calling the law and turning in the very people that brought them to where they are, period. And that's the part that has to stop. We can't work with the corporate level of things until we have a even playing field again, until there's somehow, some way that they're not able to demolish the very people that created them, that helped create them. I'm not necessarily for the corporate at all. At the same time, they're here. They won their battle, and our very own people helped them get there. Our very own people pushed for this. And now here we are today, still, some of us still trying to hold true to the original patient caregiver medicine model. It's important. I'm with you, Red Setter. I don't think it's over. I think we may have enacted an act that not many were ready to digest yet. They weren't really ready to understand the black and white ins and outs of what that act says. And I think we may be at a point in 23 where more people are ready to understand what that means and the difference between the We the People platform and the corporate market, and how dangerous it really still is for us to intermingle. It sounds harsh, but it's true. I want to, in a sense, work with them at this point. They're already here. They're not going anywhere. And I have people, my own people, that are more comfortable walking into an Apple style store than they are dealing with a caregiver, even though they know the difference. I still want them to have their medicine too at the end of the day. And my humble opinion, we can't work with them until they stop harming us. We have to, in my opinion, figure out a way to make them stop harming us. And I think Red Setter hit the mark tonight by being willing to come on a platform and call some madness out that is madness. It's ongoing. We have people constantly threatening our market, and a lot of times it really is our very own people doing the damage. And until we start what I call governing our own community, self-governing our own communities, being willing to get on and call people out for the nonsense, it's not going to stop. This, in my opinion, and what I've witnessed in the past over and over again, this is how we make it stop. We talk about it. We make sure people understand that these things are happening. It's not just love, hippie medicine going on out here anymore. It hasn't been in a long time, but it's really not now. We still have our people, as Red Setter has stated, still being threatened to be turned in. And I've talked to Nate several times. Nate has not only held true to the MMMA, but he absolutely has held true to the integrity of people. He supports the supportable, period, end of story. And I have been screaming it for years myself. Support the supportable and quit playing with the dirty deeds done dirt cheap. It's not getting us anywhere, but in these positions where our people, families, friends, children are being hurt over these situations. I digress. Thank you, Red Setter.
Oh, you are so right. And you know what? Because of Nate's integrity is the reason that I work with him. I have a hard time working with a few of the other promoters just because of, there's drama here. There's, just inconsistencies there. There's support, unknown support. Sometimes I don't want to I'm taking some of it as just people being somewhat ignorant on everything that's going on. So at least I want to say that.
Not to add more pressure, my observation nationwide, as far as this medical issue still trying to be held up, Michigan's the only place you guys are making a fight. Every other, California, no, we had the strongest 215 for a decade. It's just, they rolled right over it. It's not even, there's no group of people that are even trying what you guys are saying. It's the
and that's sad for me.
Sailed. Colorado, I don't think has much medical action at all either. Oklahoma, who's supposedly a medical state, even Florida is supposedly medical state. Oh, it's this corporate version of the medical state, right? It's not a patient version or the roots of it. And you guys are still fighting the fight on the ground level where, it's an important fight because somehow if you can hold and that would maybe turn it around all across the country, because I think a lot of this gets into vote people, but I think the common person who is interested in cannabis issues, they'll hear them out. They would probably side with what's right.
And I've only got one last thing to say. I'll turn it over to SoCal there. He's waiting very patiently. He'd probably say hello. We bought commercial property in 2016 during the medical area where caregivers were allowed to grow, in any commercial building as long as they were locked indoor within the limits and everything like that, and sell to dispensaries and help out the medical patients there. And so we're kind of grandfathered in on this thing. Now, the act that I voted for, unknowingly, maybe ignorantly voting for, not reading it clear enough where it allowed townships to opt out of the program or opt into the program, I was under the impression that because we existed, we were following the MMMA, we were going to be able to sell to dispensaries now that it was legal. But no, they added additional restrictions where they only allowed townships to opt into the program. And initially, out of 1,800 towns and communities in Michigan, we had 300 opt in. So like even today, I think that we're only at like a third of the state, not even like maybe a fifth of the state, sixth of the state, something like that is opted in to these programs. So there's all these access holes, and that specifically has allowed these large corporations to dominate the clusters of legal green zones. And people like us who blood, sweat, tears, equity, finances, everything is put into a already operating facility, we're exiled out of it because we can't, our township says no, even though we might have all of our ducks in a row, even though, you know, all we had to do is turnkey, submit our paperwork to the state, get a license, this, that, and the other. Township is ultimately the deciding factor. And that has held every caregiver's head under the water at just a jurisdictional entity. You know what I mean? There was a time where I did want to be part of that corporate cannabis space. I wanted to have a metric license because I wanted to be able to put my products in my best friend's shop. He owns one of those Apple Store type dispensaries. I worked for him for a little while helping out. And I had to sell those products from the MCMA. And that's a huge reason I don't work in that industry anymore, is because, you know, I was basically forced to promote those products that I was against. And I said, I can't responsibly do this to my community, to myself, to my patients, where I know who's being funded by this. And I had to drop, and it being so much more difficult to get in and seeing all of the corruption occur, we're honestly wanting to turn that commercial building into a herbal apothecary and maybe sell CBD products, something that we're able to actually do instead of all of this treacherous line, you know, walking the line of trying to not be taken down by a corporation, or trying not to be thrown under the bus by somebody who doesn't want, you know, a market to exist. Because now these small threats on caregivers threatening other caregivers. Before it was the corporations threatening caregivers, but now we have the Trojan horse caregivers threatening caregivers. How much more do we have to endure before I just say, fuck this, dude? I'm just going to grow other shit, and I'm going to grow a summer crop of weed, and I'm just going to give weed away. I'll start standing on the corner in front of a dispo, giving every patron a fucking ounce of weed because I'm legally allowed to if I have to. That's what it ends up being. That's what it ends up being. I'm not in this to profit, man. I'm in this to sustain, and I'm in this to have, I want to have fucking kids, and I want to fucking get on with my life. You know, I'm almost 40 years old. You know what I mean? I'm in fucking pain, and I want to fucking get on with my fucking life. You know what I mean? So thank you guys very much for allowing me to come on here and give you guys a nice little ear battering. I hope that everybody in solidarity spreads the word to not allow caregivers to be trashing other, or quote, caregivers to not be trashing other caregiver or small businesses in Michigan. Like, the show must go on, man. The patients need the access. SoCal, I turn it over to you. Please introduce yourself. Thank you guys very much. I'll hang out for a minute. I'm going to grab some more tea and maybe a bong here real quick. So thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Red.
See you,
I
Red.
just want to say that recreational definitely fucked medical right in the ass in California.
Everywhere.
If you're in a state that is currently medical and they're thinking about putting recreational on the ballot, vote no 100%, because all they're going to do is screw you over. They're going to sell you a bunch of bullshit lies, and next thing you know, you'll be like the Mendo boys who can't have their farm the way they used to have it, can't, any of that, because they're too close to, a school or a library or a park or a fucking veterinarian, or, they come up with all these different restrictions and bullshit so that Philip Morris, Johnson & Johnson, fucking all these people, Monsanto, can come in and open up a goddamn warehouse and get rid of the original medical growers.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's all about the almighty dollar.
Here in Michigan, rec is exactly what opened the door for the cities and the townships to be able to come in and kind of slay us in their ordinances. Prior to the gray areas within the rec and the licensing laws, they weren't able to to control our law in the ways that they now can. Back when Prop 1 and all of it was going forward, there were definitely many of us here that fought tooth and nail for people to understand what was written within the gray areas of what they were saying yes to. And that's what I mean when I say our very own people kind of helped it along, because our very own caregivers definitely said, you know, go vote. Yes, yes, yes. We need rec. We need licenses. We need this. We need that. And that was exactly what was opening the doors so that the cities and townships could get in and have some control over our law. Had we stood on our law and not allowed that, we wouldn't be having the same city and township ordinance battles that we're having, like in Flushing Township, where they tried to make it so that caregivers couldn't grow outside. But of course, recreational can grow outside. They can't mess with the recreational law in the same ways that they can mess with the caregiver law. So literally, in their logic, they were going to eliminate or attempt to eliminate caregivers from growing outside where the best actual medicine is absolutely produced. We had to fight tooth and nail, many hours, much time over something as silly and illogical as that is. And it's because of the rec laws that those things are able to happen. I digress.
So under medical out here, and Buddy and Rez can vouch for this because they're both, Californians at heart. You could go get your medical card for $20, and it was like a FaceTime fucking appointment with some dude on a beach in Hawaii. And for an extra $20, you could get your what they called the grower's license, which allowed you to have 99 plants. Didn't matter where you were, any of that. You could have 99 plants. Now, under recreational, for those 99 plants, you got to buy a license that's the smallest one you can buy is 500 and something bucks. They have to come inspect your space, and you can't be within a certain distance of, like I said, schools, libraries, parks. So right out of the gate, I am not allowed to grow at my own house because I have a park less than 1,000 yards from one distance and a school less than 1,000 yards on the other distance.
Yeah, and it comes down to one phrase in Prop 64. That's the rec law. It basically says that this law supersedes Prop 215. So all the law that those were, the medical 215, that got superseded instantly by the rec law. So basically, the medical ceased to exist the day they passed that in. How
about if you had a place?
However we voted and however it all came down. Yeah, because there's stories of who was at the table and whatnot, and people that know, that's lawyers. They know what phrasing, little wording means. Yeah, this should never have really been passed. We shouldn't have been accepted. But in the haste of it all, it ran through, and and something that really is missing, even though those organizations all have their dramas over the years, like Norm, that that was about, even what it stands for is marijuana legalization laws, reforming laws. They still exist, but they don't really exist. Back when we were trying to get on the ballot, and Norm played a role. There was a lot of people that donated to them. They were like an alliance, a political PAC. That message got lobby had there was, I forget the other organization, but there was two. Where's that on a national level to then support states on the people, the common sense parts of this? We don't even have a voice. Even though that would be just a small organization, that's the kind of organization that then that's what they did. They, back in the day, they were the ones lobbying and supporting whatever bills got, 215 or whatever. They put ads out and did what they could. Those organizations, like now that rec came along, we don't even have an organization like that.
Yeah, it seems like wherever it goes from the people to the corporations, that's what gives the townships and counties in California and the different towns in each county the right to say,
well, SoCal knows
regulation now, so we want more control.
You can look at a map of California, and the green zones are where those areas and counties have cannabis. San Diego and North County and the counties of San Diego, they literally, voters voted in Vista and then had to sue them years later to force them to enact it, right? Meaning that, we just started to have stores here and there, but there's huge areas that no, because it's like each town, I don't consider them townships, but like Encinitas, no. La Jolla, no. Certain out of the way areas like Chula Vista, which is like kind of like, way out of its way down by the border. That was like, oh, they licensed it there, but nowhere else. San Diego has its own whole issue.
Where you went to get those clones in the high desert in Adelanto. That's the only green area for rec.
Well, even what that did in San Diego is there's a huge delivery sector, the non-licensed, to serve, because there was they didn't allow stores to be put up, and now that they're allowing stores to be put up, those businesses are complaining to the law to try to do something about the illicit delivery services, because even those stores can't just deliver, right? There's so many laws, and one thing is each area, each town or whatever, basically its legislation, its little city council says yay or nay, and that's where all the corruption goes. That's where there's cases where people on that have been charged and convicted for taking bribe money from whoever.
Right. I agree. Yep. The corporate, so the rec laws seem to mess it up everywhere.
Recreational, absolutely.
And you could probably Google and find some of these ads. At least I'm just talking California. Prop 64, the months before the vote, there was political ads on both sides. But the pro side would list all this tax dollars that were going to schools, roads, all this. Also would list this huge amount of jobs that it was going to create. That was part of like its political marketing. Yeah, you can see the data. The jobs have it's only been 5.5 years. Oh no, the jobs and fast food workers by law get $20 an hour here. The average cannabis job, average bud tender through trimmer, whatever, is $14.76. So like McDonald's by law gets $20 an hour, but in cannabis industry, the average wage is only $14.76. And those jobs declining.
Yeah, that's a whole nother fucked up issue on its own right there.
Yeah, well, we're a big
Hey,
state, so even Southern California, it's 20 million people. So the jobs and all that's important, isn't it? People need jobs.
But the thing about that is if it's okay to pay $20, which I don't have a problem with whatever they decide to pay with it, it's only because people have decided to eat at those places more, which justifies paying the people a higher wage, right? If it wasn't just a convenience and we didn't shop there as much, then they wouldn't be making that much money, wouldn't be fighting for much money.
like, even though I'm more of a Democratic side, I know SoCal's politically opposite of me. Oh, I can't stand this Newsom guy. And yeah,
No,
I happen to follow enough to know in the last month, he's vetoed 3 cannabis bills, just quietly in the middle of the night vetoed it, which meant that the legislation had passed it. It was ready to be implemented. The one I know was anything to do with like a club or like, you know, having a social smoke lounge, whatever. Oh, he vetoed it, right? He like it's obvious that he's obviously on the money from the big industry to keep cannabis so fucked up in California that it's going to give the big corporations a big edge when they really come to the table, because all the things that would do all those bills had to do, one is the farmers market thing. Yep, he vetoed it, even though it had the votes coming out of the legislation. Yeah, that's fucked up.
That guy's
Vetoed
just a
every
piece of
bill
shit.
on marijuana. He vetoed.
He's
He's
just
the
a
one
piece
that
of shit.
he's the one that convinced the Emerald Triangle, Northern California, that it would be good for the industry, and they finally got into it. Or if those guys wouldn't have backed it, it never would have been recreational. He needed to, so he flipped on them.
Yeah,
So
no, he's
said,
a tricky. Oh no, he's exactly that. Yep, he's as slimy as they come. Yep, yep, he's
his word's
bad.
not good to anything, right? His word's not good. So,
You know, the sad part
Yeah.
is he wants to run for president.
Yeah, no,
Don't California your state. Wherever you're
Yeah,
from,
no.
don't let California in your state.
no, and just these last 3 bills of whatever. No, he is 100% against weed on all the times he's had an opportunity to do anything to fix it, change it, adopt the, add stuff. Nope. Even though it gets passed, for him to veto it, that means that's the last stop. Like it's going into effect. Oh, asshole vetoes it. And no explanation. Sometimes in press conferences, so every once in a while they try to slip in some kind of question about cannabis stuff. Oh no, he just ignores it. Even though our state, it's a huge thing. It's one of our GDPs. It's California, Northern Cal, Southern. It's a thing. Oh no, this guy's like just basically about fucking it up, because some states have passed the initial law and then are healthy enough as a government to like add things and fix it, or a lot of times negative things to from our perspective. But no, California, no, we passed whatever, it's a simple 3-page thing in 2018, and not one thing has been adopted, changed, which that tells you there's a problem right there. Because okay, the initial thing is a starting point for it to be healthy and work. Fuck, it needs, things change, things are learned.
California's
Which,
changed.
considering how big
multiple
California
things, right?
is and its influence on cannabis internationally at some point, I think that the money, the lobby money is in the right people's hands. That the big corporations don't want a healthy. No, they don't want it fixed. They don't want it to work, because at some point they're gonna, come in with guns ablazing once it's federally and internationally exportable.
I've been saying
They're gonna,
we have to keep talking about integrity, right? So you talk to the guy who's buying from the dispensary about how much better the caregivers are doing with it, and you take them out of the mind frame of wanting to eat at McDonald's, and you want them to make their own salad, right? So you have to meet it face to face, and one person at a time, right? It has to be met with your passion about how you think it should be done. And that's the way it changes, right? You don't, by going after the corporations won't really fix it, but by going to each person and saying, this is the reason we stand by this integrity, is because you don't want this in your body. The problem maybe you want this, and you don't want this type of business because it brings more taxes, which brings more regulation, which brings more control. But you want this for the individual. So it's about the individual freedom. And every person that is coming out of the dispensary, Red's going to go, okay, you can't do it. I'll give you an ounce. And while I'm giving you an ounce, I'm going to tell you why you're getting this ounce free. And that's the thing that convinces the guy coming out on the street and getting it for free, or anybody who does it, right? It's whether it's a gram or whatever. If you can give it away, you're educating that guy.
No, but you
Yeah,
don't
but it's
have,
all about
that's
the
not even necessary, because the person that goes to the dispensary, especially like you said already, Red said it, we all know it. Like there's some people that just like that Apple dispensary experience. Like, oh, they don't care. They charge 10, 15 more. They like the experience. Some people like this other experience. Some people want a more personal caregiver experience. The person that is the customer of the corporate experience, yeah, that's their choice. I'll tell you, because I follow some of this data. Yeah, the data on customers at dispensaries in California is short-lived. Like, it's not like, oh, you have some businesses, especially restaurants, where families have been going there for the whole time the thing's been open, 50, 60 years, loyal customers, right? That's not how it is with dispensaries. Like, they first off, think people bounce around, but then they bounce all together, right? Like, that's what the numbers show. Like, having customer loyalty and repeat customers, some of that is local. Yeah, the people that live a block away are your gut people.
I can't speak for everybody, but I can say that in San Diego, we have a little it's like a little weekly magazine, for free in front of all your, 7-Eleven or, CVS, Walmart, all that. It's called The Reader. And it's just
Every
a little
city
local
has it, yeah.
publication. And in the back of it, when it was just medical, like the whole magazine's like 70 pages, right? The back of it, the last probably 20 pages under medical was all ads for dispensaries. Every last one of them had a coupon or, come in and tell us you're a first-time customer and get, X amount off plus free this, free that. You'd go in there, you'd spend, $70 and you'd walk out with, 2 ounces of whatever, a grinder, a pre-roll, a lighter, a fucking little throwaway pipe, some papers, just all kinds of shit, right? Everything you could ever need, right? Now that's down to like 2 pages of it in the recreational market, but the dispensaries, they'll be there in one location, a lot of the littler ones, they'll be there in one location for, 2-3 months. And then actually, you go down to that street where it was at and they're boarded up, shut down. But 4 doors down is now, instead of Bob's dispensary, it's Joe's dispensary. And, you walk in and there's Bob working the counter. That's going on all over the place out here.
Yeah. Well, that's because, it's the even when they get a cease and desist or whatever,
They just move down the street.
Basically, they just, that's
Let's see if it got
there's no going to jail for it. So they don't, sometimes they might lose the product on hand or something, but that's like if they gotten the cease and desist and then kept operating, right? Or forced the issue. But if you just go with a few months and then move to another place, move to another, and like, because a couple of my friends built really successful ones. They spent years doing it. Delivery services, like gigantic, right? And to the point where, both of them years ago, like they used to, because weed maps changed. There was ways they would put out ads. Oh no, they stopped doing that. The only way you could even get in is if one of the current people referred you. right? Like, so they have enough customers. Like they're, it's like, oh, that's it. Because even my one friend, he went bigger and then had a dispatcher and had all these different zones, and that was just more headache than just like sort of like Red says. I just want my niche, right? And okay, it's not, that's the way I've always looked at it. It used to be it wasn't threatened for a long time, the niche, but then now the niche is under fire for sure.
How is that threatening? You know what I mean? Like, how is it so threatening? We've got these large corporations in Michigan. Like I said, they want to shut down because they're afraid of some 12 lighters. Like, it just blows me away. Like, your products aren't good enough. That's why you're so threatened. You're not threatened with the niche.
And something else you said, Red, that I hardly ever say in here, because most everything we talk about as far as methods of cannabis growing is technical and more science orientated. But over all the years, there's like there's a spiritual thing that, like, you can take the same strain, and why is somebody's version headier or better? I don't believe in ghosts and all kinds of weird stuff like that, but I believe there is some like energy that has to do with it, and some people have it, some don't.
I do too, man. And there's some weird stuff going on in the culture right now where you see like clones going for crazy amounts of money, millions of dollars for clones, whether or not there's a odd reason for it or not. The only entity that's marketing to is Marlboro, Johnson & Johnson. You know what I mean? Like, that's who $1 million clones are being marketed to. And if you're talking a medicinal clone of something, they're going to turn that thing into the worst garbage ever. They're going to devalue, deface, degrade. It's
well, but like, isn't one of the basic rules of capitalism, it's worth whatever somebody's willing to pay for it? So
those are the things that,
like, okay, if there's somebody that's willing to pay for it, well, all the power to the person that builds the hype to make that mark, right?
Say that?
Like, I'm sure that if you're the guy that got somebody on the hook to pay you $1 million for a clone, you view that person as a mark. Like that's a mark.
But here's
you know what I mean? If you know what I mean about a mark, like that gets into hustle, right?
And it is. And you'd say, hey, I made a good hustle. But at the end of the day, it's not ethical at all to destroy your entire culture, because what you'd be doing is you'd be taking something that's primo in a good culture, and now you're supporting Marlboro. You're giving Marlboro power. You're giving Marlboro power with that clone or with that name of whatever, and you're selling out all the good people in the bottom.
I could imagine there's some high-level board corporate meetings with some companies, Seagram, Marlboro types, right, where these guys are just laughing at the last so many years, where even their own predictions would have been, it would be a lot harder to take over this thing or do our thing to it, as we're just rolling over for them. We're not putting up much of a fight.
That's it. They'll sell themselves out for whatever big money is, and they go, hey, I can retire now. But I just don't. I see that. For me, I don't have the conscience to be able to support that type of entity. You know what I mean? To me, that's good capitalism, but it's terrible business. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, though, if somebody wants to offer me $1 million for a clone, I'll take it.
And it depends on who's doing the offering for me, honestly. You know what I mean? Because I don't.
But I'm sure that whole transaction comes with a whole $1 million song and dance, right?
I don't want Marlboro in this game, so I'm not going to support it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's worth $1 million, somebody else will take it, but it won't be Marlboro. Unfortunately, you get up to those numbers; those are the only kind of companies that are going to be able to afford it. And I'll continue to eat grass, man. You know what I mean? My expenses aren't that high. They don't need to be that high. I don't need that kind of money. I don't need that kind of money for the killing off the culture, because that's what happens. That's what happens when Walmart moves into town. All the mom and pops that once existed move out. They go under. Look at actually here's a good example. Gary, Indiana is a great example. Steel was once a very high, the largest steel mill. Oh, was it USA Steel or something like that? Was in Gary, Indiana. They outsourced steel at one point for profit, for revenue, because somebody wanted to make $1 million. Gary, Indiana had a population of 200,000 at one time. It was a booming city. And I think it's like 60,000, 65, maybe 70,000 people right now. It's one of the lowest mortality rates, highest mortality rate in the country, highest crime rate, and one of the third highest crime rates, top murder rate in the country. And at one time it was booming. It's on its way back, possibly on its way back up, but that is because of industry. That's because of capitalism. Capitalism is good in some ways, and capitalism is absolutely
well. I have this weird personal thing where a lot of people on the cannabis content creators refer to this thing cannabis industry, like I'm in the cannabis industry, or like that's the last thing. Like, one, if you read the definition of industry, we might be a business, but we're not quite an industry yet. And the last thing you want to have happen is it become an industry.
Absolutely.
That's Marlboro, that's Seagram's, that's Bear, those are industries, and those are industry makers, right? What we're trying to do is keep it from becoming an industry. Like, that's the last thing we want, is it to be an industry. And most of those people are just using the word. It sounds good, not really understanding what I'm saying. But yeah, no, the last thing we, like, true cannabis culture wants is cannabis become an industry. But
the only other example I have, because it's local and close to home, is Flint, Michigan. In Flint, Michigan, Flint was also a booming city in the 80s. And you all know Flint, Michigan, of being, from the water issues that they're having right now. And there's some possibly sinister stuff.
Well, now I know the story on the news and how it affected people drinking and all that. People that were growing weed, did they have like catastrophic fuck ups because they were using leaded water and didn't even realize it?
Oh man,
I'm sure somebody was growing up there and like ran into some serious problems because of the fucking water.
Possibly. There's a pretty big industry in Flint. Clio, huge industry in Flint. But Flint, Michigan used to be the motor vehicle city. You know what I mean? It's called Vehicle City for a reason. It's got racetracks. I believe it was either Chevrolet headquarters, plant was up there, and Roger Moore, the CEO of General Motors at the time. That's what it was. General Motors owned. It was a robust city. It was the Industrial Revolution in the 50s, 60s, and 70s in Michigan was just automotive and fucking cranking and crunching. The middle class was at the height, and people could afford to live, sustain, and do great things. And all of a sudden, the CEO decided, for the sake of better money, cheaper, out his assembly. And dude, there was like 30,000 jobs that were lost overnight in Flint, Michigan. Michigan turned into one of the most prime cities in Michigan and up there in the United States. And population dropped, the poverty levels skyrocketed. Michigan went right down, and probably also leading to why they haven't been able to afford, at the town level, because people can't afford their taxes anymore, why they haven't been able to afford the upkeep of the water systems. So, even Detroit still has enough industry that they're able to at least upkeep Detroit. And we get our water supply here in Washtenaw County area. We get our water supply from Detroit. We have some of the best water in the state. We have some of the best, maybe the piping, we have some of the best water in the state. Our numbers are great. And a lot of it has to do with everything's able to be continued to be upkept, but not in areas like they haven't been able to upkeep those lines, whatever the politics around it. But a lot of it does have to do with a corporate entity that was there making great money. Everybody was doing good, and then they decided to make a business decision that really fucked up, not just the people that worked for them, but like that whole community, the area, and everything. And I see that.
Well, my perspective, that was like you say that happened a long time ago when the car thing collapsed. But then it seems like in the last 10 years, Michigan is like rebounded, right? I've seen like few different, maybe it was one of those real estate things where it showed that people were fixing up old places, and there's a lot of cool life going on there, right?
Detroit is experiencing a renaissance, and kind of because of that, we had the Super Bowl in like, I don't know, fucking 2009 or something, and ever since, a lot of industry started moving back. We had a guy named Dan Gilbert buy up 80% of the real estate in Detroit, and a lot of the areas that were a little bit more run down. What we've also had is investment companies come into the state and turn over the foreclosures and everything like that was happening. So what we have is an abundance of high value homes and a lack of affordable homes, and we have a lot of poverty. So what we have is a lot of people unable to get homes. So it's difficult to say that we've come now. We have a lot of expensive housing, but at the same time, they're not being.
Well, it seems like there's pockets of people living pretty good there. You guys seem to be pretty happy there.
We're happy, man, but we're struggling. We struggle bus heavy. There's jobs to be had. There's work, but honestly, I mean, there's still complaints of like, you can't get a contractor to come out. It's weird. It's super weird. Just like
as much as everyone thinks California's some great, no, we're shit, man. Like different set of issues, or maybe the same set of issues. Ultimately, yeah, things have fallen apart here slowly but surely. Actually, fast.
And I think it's like
a lot of it is money. How much money it takes to keep up the upkeep on everything? Because the roads and different things are just terrible.
And with the cannabis taxes, I mean, we've made billions in cannabis revenue in the last couple of years. A lot of that has been going towards the road issue, but I mean, our taxes have gone up. The taxes, I don't know what the percent is, but I pay at least a few hundred more in taxes than we did like city taxes. I paid twice as much for my house than I did 10 years ago, just because taxes went up. So
property taxes is different places have different rules with that and ways they jack the prices and I was able to get in and refinance 2 years ago at a rate, much, much lower than today's average rates. I mean, we're talking 8% minimums here in Michigan, 7.5 to 8%. Yeah. That's the new rate, 7% up.
Yeah.
Actually, right now in San Diego County, 8.75.
Oh my God, dude.
I mean,
they were at what my mom bought in the 80s at 20%. You know what I mean? So I mean, they're going to go back down at some point. So, or I mean, they're going to continue to go up until they plateau and before they come back down. But it's just kind of where we are, and we just try to keep our head up. Really, that's the only thing I can only stay positive. The second that I start worrying and dwelling about shit is the second that shit starts to roll downhill. So the more that I just try not to let shit affect me, and I just keep a smile on my face, or at least force a smile on my face, whatever, the better it is. I mean, honestly, man, it's always kind of been to where I'm at the last of my check, the last of my, we're running out of money and I'm getting ready to scrap into the fucking piggy banks savings that I have. I literally have a coin bank, where something will come up and I'll make the next money for the bill. I think it's a mind over matter thing. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about the way the universe works, but the second I'm worrying about shit, it just always seems to just happen and roll downhill. And as soon as I just kind of don't worry about it, it just kind of like, so that's kind of,
well, that's just good energy. Yeah, that shit matters.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. You know, just love out to all the bullshit going on in the world. You know what I mean? And there's the fuck offs that are trying to profit off. And it is what it is about the money. You know what I mean? I'm sure I'd take money for other shit. You know what I mean? I'm sure that there's some other things that I value that somebody would think is immoral. You know what I mean? I would probably, do some shit for like meat or something, right? You know what I mean? I'd sell meat, an animal, and like, somebody who doesn't like animal, so we all have that, right? We all have personal opinions about stuff. And
well, some of this gets into, there is sort of a movement of people that spout this, trying to go back to local economies or support local economies, whether it's cannabis, whether it's meat, but like we're basically, you'd have to go out of your way, most likely, to start using your dollar and just support local economies. In some places, it's already been wiped out.
Yeah, and that's where I think the come up is, man, because then there's a lot more satisfaction for the people doing all the work. You know what I mean? When local economies are much more small scale, usually the owners are the ones doing the commerce. And it's great to talk to patrons, and as a patron, it's great to talk to the business owner. The worst fucking thing is having, an issue with something and calling a hotline and not even talking to a human. You know what I mean? Like the worst fucking businesses. It's all the businesses that we like literally have to deal with. Like, dude, yeah, I mean, whatever thing that takes our attention and is great and we pay a bunch of money for, and we can't even talk to a human on the other line. I mean, we gotta, let alone the CO or the owner or somebody who takes pride in what they're providing. You know what I mean? The people we talk to, if you do get to talk to a human, they don't take pride in what they're providing. They're getting a paycheck, and it's usually not even.
I think there was a shift at one point. Like across the board, there used to be this feeling that the customer was right. Like whenever you called them, and they would go out of their way to make sure you were happy and weren't going to. Now they don't give a fuck anymore. No. Like
nowadays you go into a business or you call a company's customer service line or whatever, and their attitude is fuck you, get out of my way, don't bother me while I'm at work.
I can remember years ago with the cell companies, like I'd be in a problem with, they call them and like kind of basically threaten that I was going to switch to another provider, and the next thing you know, they would say, "Oh, wait, could we, they would offer you a deal or something." Like those days are over. Where no,
right?
They don't give a fuck. Well, a lot of it is because there is no competition. That's what it's come down to. There's these conglomerates, and they got a lock on it. What they're not competing anymore. There's no more. You're buying from the same 2 or 3 people on everything.
Well, guys, I hate to do this, but it's so hard to keep a structured time on this. It really is. How do you contain great conversation? It's nearly fucking impossible to put it like a set time on these conversations.
Well, Red definitely brought inspiration to the community, the cannabis community, patients, where we came from. Like, can't forget where we came from. That's what the overall vibe I'm leaving with.
Roots, baby. We've all got roots.
So, Red, I want to give you some credit myself, man. You always are bringing it. You have connected a few dots for me over the years. Tonight, I think you kind of connected a dot outside of cannabis for me. So we've talked a long time ago about like the connection with anxiety and the fucking damn energy drinks.
Are you still off of those?
I try my fucking best. I try my best occasionally, once in a great while, but no, they are not every fucking day.
Good,
but
man.
Tonight it was sugar. See, ever since the race there, I've kind of relaxed a little bit. I'd made a deal with my body the day of the race to get me through that fucking 10 miles as fast as I could, and I'd give it a break because I'd been beating it the fuck out of it. Then there after the race, I tried to get into a chiropractor before the race, and I got to see one after the race just a few weeks ago, and man, they told me my fucking shit was fucked up. Nonetheless, I've been fucking kind of like laxing a little bit, trying to work with the chiropractor, like to give this an honest shot at working. So in order to do that, she's told me to kind of relax on the running. In fact, no fucking running for this fucking month, which has been super hard. And I've been laxing a little bit at the gym. But lately I've fucking noticed my body's been aching in fucking ways that it should be equal to what I was putting out, right? But I'm not. But one thing, it's been like blowing my mind. I'm like, I would feel better about this if I was going to the gym and hurting.
Can I
You know
tell
what
you
I mean?
one last
What?
thing, Eagle, is I developed this pressure behind my eye about a year ago. Come to find out, there's this thing called a cerviogenic headache that stems from neck damage, and it can radiate into and behind your eye and things like that. And one of the symptoms of this is this eye pressure, and it was persistent every day. Woke me up while I was sleeping not a day. It didn't skip a day. We went on a honeymoon in June. We did the whole thing, and we'd eat like shit, and it'd get worse. I took gluten out of my diet, and I tried doing it every now and then. We'd have like something that would have some gluten in it, beer, for example, something like that. And we were also like having, maybe a margarita on Friday nights after we'd be in the garden hot, or another one was I went back to eating red meat and things like that. And Eagle, I switched up my diet. Sugar is a huge one too. Sugar intake was one. The pain, the pressure behind my eye for the first time in over 10 months had dissipated and been relieved just strictly from that. And then if I have sugar, the neck pain gets worse the next day. And I've been noticing, so the better, and here's the unfortunate thing, is when you really have a long-term association with eating food that's not real food, what it ends up doing is you get used to just kind of like being in that state. And once you start getting into a more natural food diet where we really just eat soups with, potatoes and beans and carrots and shit like this time of year, and mostly vegetables and chicken just about every day. I mean, that's literally all we eat. We don't eat anything processed. And really no added sugars. If we eat sugar, it's coming from honey or from like a mango or an apple or something like that. Even then, there's a lot of sugar. And what I'll tell you is when you do have the occasional beer or have the occasional cracker or some shit, something with sugar or something like that, if you feel it 1,000 times worse, dude. So like you were doing good, you were prepping and getting your thing for the race going, and you were eating healthy, and then maybe you came back and maybe you had a snack or something after the race, and that's probably what triggered that response. And yeah, man, and it's just like, it's not preaching like be a health nut, but it's preaching, just before resorting maybe to pharmaceuticals or anything like that, or maybe start just tweaking your diet in minuscule ways to see what types of things are actually affecting you, because you might not eat something for a week and you might feel a lessening of a pain and then eat that thing again and go, holy shit, that fucking hurts again, and start to correlate and just be mindful of that kind of stuff is huge. And dude, sugar is one of those, man. Thanks for the fucking allowing the monologues, Eagle. I love you, brother. Thank you very much for inviting me on, dude. I'll try to come on again. And Rez, buddy, SoCal, it's great to fucking be up here with you guys, man. It's awesome. Sorry we took us so long, Eagle. It was a good conversation.
Well worth it, brother. And thanks again. And I hope to see you again soon. And I do, that is no bullshit. I've got tons of respect for you. And it has nothing but grown over the years. You have stayed true. You are the same fucking person, if not better in a lot of ways that I met
Becca,
many.
and Becca made me better. Yeah.
They can do that. They can do that for sure. But I do appreciate all you guys that have jumped on tonight and chimed in on this conversation. It has been an awesome night, and I greatly appreciate everybody's time. So thank you all for coming and hanging out tonight.
Oh yeah. Just
Yeah, man.
real quick here, just so I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but got the helicopter circling. All I can hear them, they're using their PA, telling somebody to get the fuck on the ground. They're gonna release the dog.
Oh, rats.
Well,
I
damn.
might have to go down the street and check this out.
Some footage.
I'm trying. They're not. I live in a small little community up here, and they're not too far from the house. So
Well, you can kind of hear them.
Had their spotlight coming across? It looked like a spotlight on the ground.
yeah,
Holy shit, that is close.
All right. Well, you guys, that is nuts.
all right. Well, I'll be the next one to go out then. Eagle, fuck you for having us. Hey, did you see that place that I sent you with all the woodwork?
Yes. Pretty awesome.
Was that badass or what?
Super badass.
Yeah.
Super.
All the whole house looks like the room Eagle's in. It's got greenhouses on it. It's got yurts on it. Fucking badass property we're trying to get. So anyway, Eagle, fuck you for having us. Buddy, fuck you. Rez, fuck you. Chat, I can't see you guys, but fuck all of you. And we'll see you Monday night.
Hell yeah. Cheers, man. Have a great weekend. Buddy, you're muted.
I'll just send my love to Eagle, Rez, SoCal, Red, and all the chatters. Yeah. Real quick, I got 5 a.m. I check into surgery. I'm having my hernia surgery tomorrow. So
wish you a speedy recovery, my friend.
yeah, I'm sure it will go good. I got 2 more hours before I can't drink water, coffee, food, anything. I'm all prepared. Leave here around 4 a.m.
No cigarette.
Check in. I'm having surgery at Scripps La Jolla, which in our area is like the premier hospital, and so I feel good about all that. So yeah, I'll see you guys around.
Hell yeah. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I'll just say thanks, Eagle. I appreciate it. And thanks, Angel Smiles over there, for your input earlier. That's good to hear. People still standing up for what's right. And I just think it's integrity, right? And it's one integrity, and we share our integrity with how we'll stand on that with the next person, right? And that can change neighborhoods, cities, for the better. So if we focus on mom and pop, style, and that's where we want to go. It's not always cheaper. Sometimes it's free, right? I'll go back to what Red said. If they wouldn't let him do it, he'd give it away free, right? And that's the cost, is sometimes just stopping and having the conversation and taking a little bit of our time to tell the guy who's doing it, or the girl doing it the other way, there's a better way, right? So the integrity is what worked better in Michigan than is working now. That's where you go with that subject, and that's where you stay on that subject. And that's what you talk to about with each person, about how it was better this way than it is this way. And then they just don't get all the market, right? They don't get to keep all the market, and slowly it can go back to the people. So I appreciate the conversation. And yeah, sugar can mess me up too, but damn it, I like Coca-Cola. See you, man.
Have a great night, Rez. Thank you for popping in.
Thanks.
To the rest of all you guys, Miranda Family Farm, SoCal, Johnny Caddisy, Rez, the Pharmacy Seed Network, Red Set of Farms. Big pleasure to see you, my friend. 11 Angel Smiles 11. Thank all you guys for the wonderful conversation tonight. Some people wonder why do shit I do the shit I do. It's on purpose. If you are smart enough to watch the show all the way to the end of the show and would like one of these here posters and at least a 5-pack of Purgatory or Sangria or Acer Snaps, and I'll probably throw in some Chilumbium F2s and some Jelly Bean times Chilumbium. You can hit me up. Cover the shipping. I'm only asking for $10. You want to put more on that, that's up to you. But that $10 will get that shipped out to you. Venmo, Eagle Gardens 1@gmail.com. Last four of the phone number is 6097. Or you can try to get on the Patreon and help out that way as well. But I'll ship those out as soon as I get whatever. With that being said, I do appreciate you guys tuning in, watching, supporting this thing. It means more than you ever will know. Don't forget to do something nice for somebody. Random acts of kindness do save lives. And with that being said, I may pop in on just a random one sometime soon to give away some gems tickets, Gems and Genetics tickets for the 28th. I have a few. Keep your eyes on the lookout for that. If that's something you're interested in, they will be available as well. That being said, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for tuning in.